Sports Network. Let's give a big ATSN. Welcome back to Adam Chat Sports.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back, buddy. It's nice to have you back. We missed you last week, but we get right back on the ball this week here.
That's right. Always nice to be here.
Absolutely. We always love having you. I want to talk about a little clip you shared on TikTok last week asking the public, I guess is what you're asking, is if you could be the GOAT of a sport without winning the Holy Grail, without winning the championship ring, trophy, whatever that may be. Yeah, I'll turn the mic over to you and kind of let you tell everybody what you were saying when you said it, or if you were just literally saying what you said. Anyways, here you
Yeah.
go.
So this is the reason I said the Holy Grail, or the way I phrased it the way I did, is because honestly it wasn't more so a question for the American sports. And I actually was asking because I'm curious about what people think. It was more so a question about soccer. And because it's very interesting the way soccer works, because there's so many different types of Holy Grails, right? You play hockey, it's the Stanley Cup, no doubt about it. You play football, it's the Super Bowl. It has to be. There's no other Holy Grail. There's no other competition in which would be considered the best. You look at basketball or the NBA, it's the Larry O.B., right? There's always the one Holy Grail because the American sports have the league, whereas in soccer, it's the World Cup. You can look at the Euro Cup, Copa America, or whatever. You can look at the Champions League, just the league in terms of wherever you play. So there's so many different ones. That was mainly where that argument came from, or that question came from, because I don't know, put it into perspective, right? Like if Connor McDavid never won the Stanley Cup after, let's say, another 10 years, or let's say 12, 13 years, give or take, because, modern medicine, would he be considered the GOAT if he never won the Stanley Cup, but continued to put up like an Art Ross every other year or whatever?
Yeah, and I know we live in North America, guys. So Adam's comment section very quickly went to Connor McDavid in hockey, and I kind of assumed it was going to go there. Um, I'm assuming you're saying if Connor McDavid's going down as the GOAT, he's going to win at least another 8 or 9 significant trophies, whether those are league MVP, scoring titles, whatever that may be in those 11 years. Like he would have to put up some impressive accolades. But my question for you is subliminally when I watched the video, I would get out of here. Like, is he really saying Connor McDavid's going to go down better than Wayne Gretzky on this list? Like, I, I started running everything through my brain and every scenario and every option. McDavid's going to come nowhere close to 3,000 points. It's just not going to happen.
You can't.
Um, he's not going to hunt Gretzky down for the goal record like Ovechkin is right now.
Nope.
We've watched him lose a Memorial Cup as a captain. We've watched him lose the Stanley Cup 2 times, 1 time, 2 times as a captain. We watched him put the C on at the Olympics after Crosby got hurt and couldn't win the big game. Like, I know what I'm alluding to, and I know you guys, I'm trying not to say it because Connor McDavid is the best hockey player in the world, if not number 2 right now. So I don't want to even go there in the conversation because that's not what this show's about, and that's not what we're about. But there is no way, without winning at least a couple Stanley Cups, he's touching Gretzky on that list.
Yeah. No, you know what? And I'm not saying that. That was not what I was alluding to at all. So don't worry. Hockey is all over the place, in my opinion, in terms of the GOAT conversation, because the sport has evolved so much over the last 30, 40 years, even alone. The sport has evolved just tenfold. So, I've always had that conversation of, I think GOAT versus BOAT should be in the equation. I think there's a difference between greatness and being the best. You can be the best and not be great. And I think you can be great without being the best. I think greatness means a legacy, and greatness means your clutch gene. Greatness is championships. Not only pure objective championships, but subjectively, how many championships have you won and how many chances, right? So like, sorry to sort of ramble on, but in my opinion,
keep going. I'm enjoying it.
A great example of GOAT versus BOAT, and this is again, we're going to ruffle a few feathers, is Jordan and LeBron. I think LeBron is the best of all time, and I think Jordan is the greatest of all time. I think Jordan leaves the most out there. He has the best legacy. I think he is looked at as, sort of almost the best player of all time. But then when I start to think about it and I go, okay, 1v1, if I were to pick anybody 1v1 to beat anybody else ever, I'd pick LeBron. So it's sort of, I don't know, you know what I mean? And that's, I know that's a very 50-50 conversation depending on who you talk to.
I mean, for me, and this is great you went into that, because I do want to expand the conversation tonight into football, into basketball, into baseball, and kind of touch on everything and see where it kind of goes. So let's start with basketball. We'll get back to hockey at the very end. We'll wrap up there. Yeah, if we're talking straight championships, then there's no arguing it. Bill Russell is the GOAT of the NBA. And guys, that's just factually an incorrect statement. Bill Russell is a top 10 player of all time in the NBA, but he is not the GOAT of the NBA. And I'm sure there's some people out there that could probably put the argument together why he is, or why Oscar Robinson, or Wilt, or Kareem, or whoever that is. But fact of the matter is, the conversation really is down to LeBron and Michael. A lot of people are going to get offended because Kobe's not in the conversation, but the reality of the matter, guys, is Kobe was really good. He's a top 5 player of all time, but he's not in this conversation. Even still at the age of whatever he is, 41, 42, if LeBron wants to go to the rim, LeBron goes to the rim. You can't stop him. So I don't know. Longevity. I mean, we'll get into the football, which is going to get into the longevity of Tom. But I don't know. Where do you sit on all that, man?
Yeah. Like I said, it's all gray area. It's really all it is, because you can't fault a guy for being good in his era. You know what I mean? Like, and the same conversation goes to hockey. I know we're looking at other sports now, but the same conversation goes to hockey. You can't fault Gretzky for being good and say, oh, well, Connor McDavid is never going to reach that amount of points or goals, because the era is just so much better now. The defense is better now. Goaltenders actually wear helmets and pads now. Well, yeah, fine. But if it was so easy, everybody else would have put the same numbers up as Gretzky did.
That's right.
So you can't fault the guy for being good in his era. But at the same time, you do have to look and say, okay, comparatively in their eras, how much better are they than everybody else? Is how I think you should look at the best or the greatest player of their generation, and effectively all time.
Yeah, when it comes to something like boxing and mixed martial arts, people have no problem accepting the fact that we are comparing the prime of a career when we're talking about greatness. But somehow, and some reason, when it shifts over to everything else, it just doesn't seem to go that way. But I do agree with you. And, I have a question. And this is a question for everybody. I mean, obviously, Adam's going to answer it. But what if Wayne Gretzky wasn't required to have Marty McSorley because there wasn't people trying to chop his head off everywhere, and he got to play hockey for a whole career with 2 first-liners? How many points would Wayne Gretzky have put up?
I don't know.
I don't know. Fictional conversation, because it never happened. But
exactly.
I mean, stories like that and thoughts like that make me think, man, Wayne was just that much better than everybody else. Now, I've heard Wayne say Mario Lemieux is the most talented hockey player he's ever seen play hockey.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
I've
heard a lot of people say that. Yeah.
Fact of the matter is, we never got to see the whole career, so we never know the answer, right?
Right. Eric
Lindros could have been. Never gonna know.
And now my question is, do you think that that plays a factor into being the greatest? Because you can sit there all you want and say, oh, Mario Lemieux would have been the best, but is longevity and the capability to come back and having that drive, having that passion to come back from whatever injury you may be facing, is that part of being the GOAT? Now, granted, there's always going to be some exceptions, right? There's some people that have concussions that just can't do it. Crosby was damn near close to being one of those guys, and Lord knows, like, what was that? I mean, almost 15 years ago now. No, maybe more so 10 to 15 years ago now. he was this close to never being able to play hockey again. And he kind of set it aside and said, you know what? I got to keep my damn head up. That's what I got to do. I got to stop getting hit and I got to stop being targeted. And he's changed his game. And guess what? He's still in the league now. If Crosby had bowed out when he bowed out, I guarantee he wouldn't be in the GOAT conversation.
No.
So longevity definitely plays a part, and being able to be resilient plays a part in being the best and greatest. So unfortunately, Mario Lemieux can't be considered for it.
And you know what? The one thing that's always bugged me in this conversation is, and now, guys, I'm not saying he's not regarded as the best defenseman of all time, but how did Bobby Orr get regarded where he is without the longevity of the whole career?
Yeah.
It's always eluded me as a thought, and maybe somebody out there, you can tell me in the comment section of the video. I'd love to hear it. Like, I've never understood it. I mean, the guy was great. No questions asked. If somebody was going to hunt Wayne down, in my opinion, it was Bobby Orr. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But we never
you
got
know
to
what?
see
Like,
it.
As far as legacies go, every great has to put up with injuries, right? Every player has to put up with injuries. And you know what? Like, let me ask you something. I know you're not a big soccer guy, but have you ever heard the name Cristiano Ronaldo?
Of course I have.
Of course you have. He's on my wall back there. He's on my wall in front of me. He's pretty much on every kid's wall that watches or plays soccer. He's dealt with injuries, and guess what? He's widely regarded as the greatest of all time. Whether it's one or two for Messi or him is your choice, but he's widely regarded as that. And the longest layoff he's ever had consecutively is 12 games. 12 games. Mm-hmm. And they play nearly as many games in soccer a year as they do in hockey. They play about 60 games a year, if not more, in soccer as they do in hockey. And the longest layoff he's ever had is 12 games, and he is 41 years old, just like LeBron. So if you're going to build that legacy and you want to be regarded as one of the greatest, you have to come back. You have to come back better.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, and that's the Michael argument, right? Michael left, Michael came back, Michael won again. I mean, there you go. There it is, folks. There's the argument right there, wrapped up and done. However, if you took the championships out of the equation, we're having a totally different conversation. But that's not the conversation we're having today.
Right. Because that's a big if.
Let's go to football.
Sure.
I don't think there is an argument here. I think everybody's pretty much on the same page. Tom's the the GOAT.
Yeah.
But he's the interesting one. And I'm going to kind of tie golf into this conversation here, because I think him and Tiger are actually the unicorns in this conversation. Because when Adam said to be a GOAT versus the best, and, he listed a whole big list of things, those guys checked every box 4 times. I don't think any other sport, any person has done that.
No.
So is there a person in football that's in the conversation with Tom?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can put anybody in that conversation.
I mean, unless we're putting Bill Belichick in the conversation here.
No, not really.
Right? It's not a thing. And in golf, I mean, I'm sure we'll get some old guys probably hammering down on this, but Tiger's the best golfer ever.
I think unanimously people believe that.
Yeah,
I don't think there's an argument there either.
Yeah,
Michael Phelps, the greatest swimmer.
Hands down, I agree, and I'm sure we could go on through everything. I mean, we get into the UFC world, that gets a little bit sketchy there. You could break it down division by division. In my humble opinion, I think Demetrius Johnson is number 1 on that list, and John Jones probably number 2.
Yeah.
Maybe some people put him backwards. Maybe some people yelling at me because John Jones doesn't even belong on that list. But
no, you got to give John Jones his flowers regardless. He's a fantastic fighter. He's so good. He fought his wife, for goodness sake.
Oh my God. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. But he's a scumbag, but he's a good fighter.
Yeah, probably the best to do it. But again, if we go start measuring primes of careers here, man, Connor was exciting for a couple of years.
Is exciting greatness, though.
Habib is insane.
I agree.
And we're watching maybe the best fighter of all time right now fight in the UFC in Islam. I mean, potentially. He's dismantling people. I mean, the fight last weekend was probably the most human I've ever seen him look.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens. Your opponent doesn't have a killer instinct that night, and it doesn't make a difference. So
yeah.
I want to go back to basketball here quick.
Sure.
I've always had this concept. Instead of having a goat, why can't we have a table?
Okay, that's a good.
You know, and for anybody who's not religious, for anyone who is religious, let's just take the big famous picture and let's call it the table. And we kind of put people at the table. It expands the conversation, and it really allows us to put great and best kind of in the same conversation, I feel.
Absolutely. But I think it's in human nature to want a number one.
Yeah.
You want the guy, because even at the table sat Jesus Christ.
So here's the question then. Let's say the table was the goats of goats. Who is the goat of the goat?
The goat of the goat.
Muhammad Ali. You name it, man. Who is that guy?
Man, I don't even know. You'd probably have to say Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's a wild question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why you put me on the spot like that. That's crazy.
I don't know either. That was a rough one.
I don't know. I'd either think Tom Brady or like one of the sports that isn't in the major, 4 or 5. I'd say probably Michael Phelps or maybe Tom Brady.
You know what? Let's avoid the whole conversation and pretend I never asked you the question and just say Terry Fox is the answer to the question and move on.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hey,
we're on live. Can't do that.
Right? We're on live. Can't do that. All right. Tiger Woods. That's
what you think?
Yep.
That's a respectable answer. Honestly, that's a respectable answer.
Yep, sure.
See, the thing is that I don't know if it's fair to put Tiger, to put Michael Phelps. I don't know if it's fair to put those guys in, even if you wanted to, put like a Mickey Mantle there. I don't think it's fair to put those guys in with the team sports. And I know that baseball is a team sport, but realistically, it's one man against another at the bat, right? So you can put up a resume that stands for yourself and only yourself as a player. Although you have, I get it, but I don't think it's fair to put individual goats against the goats of other sports, because team sports will always have somebody dragging you down, will always have someone pulling you up, and there's always going to be other factors that play into performance.
I like it. I'm in for it. Hey, you talked about baseball. I never mentioned baseball. Let's loop back to that.
Sure.
Are we watching the GOAT build his career right now?
Who are you referring to?
Shoei.
Okay. I don't think so. I honestly don't know, but I don't think so.
Man, that's a tough call here. Wow.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And the only other person in that is Aaron Judge, and the answer is no.
Yeah,
no. He's just not. I don't even think Aaron Judge is going to go down as the best Yankee. Like, I don't think he passes Jeter on that list.
I think Shohei has a lot of work to do. He needs to stay consistent.
Yep.
I don't mean consistent throughout the year. I mean consistent for years.
Yeah.
He needs to continue doing what he's doing at the highest level for years to even have a seat at the table.
Yeah. Now, baseball, though, is interesting, right? Because you almost have two GOATs. You almost have a position player and a pitcher. I don't think you have a GOAT of the game.
Yeah.
For me personally, anyways, Barry Bonds, best hitter ever to play baseball. Steroids, no steroids. I mean, he did half a career no steroids, half a career with steroids. He was equally just as good in both of them. So, and you listen to the guys, Greg Maddux and those guys who had to throw against him. They'll tell you the truth, right?
So I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
Why do you look at baseball that way, but you don't look at football that way?
Because I don't think in baseball there is Tom Brady.
Okay.
That's the answer to the question. I think Tom changed it. Yeah. That's my answer. I never thought about it before, but that's the answer.
That's a good answer. So you think that type of player, so you think that eventually if somebody were to wow you enough, and I don't mean a two like a Babe Ruth or a Shohei. I don't mean someone that's on both sides. I mean someone that was so good on their side that could win so much and be so good at what they do that they could sway your opinion on that and become the Tom of the MLB.
Sure. Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I mean, it's funny. I say we're watching it happen right now. It's easy to say that when the same guy plays on both sides of the ball, right?
Right.
But if there was another position player playing right now, for me, it's Bobby Witt Jr. The guy's a stud. But again, too early in their careers to even begin talking about it. And that's where it bugs me in hockey too. My buddy Jeff's going to get on me for saying this because I'm going to go right back to it. But man, staking everything in those contracts on those young hockey players, I get it. Celebrini and Schaefer, I know he hasn't signed yet, but he's gonna, and it's gonna be a good contract. Man, they haven't done anything yet. They get hurt tomorrow, and it's all for nothing. And guess what? They were never anybody. So Celebrini had a good couple years, went to the Olympics, gets hurt. He's nobody. And all these guys are, regarding these players, obviously their own GMs and everything, as well as these like just studs. And when I think of studs, I think of, Nikita Kucherov, David Pasternak, Barkov, Nathan McKinnon. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry, everybody. Austin Matthews.
Very nice. Very funny.
Very nice, right? Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I agree. Like, I think there's not enough bridge deals in the NHL. People are kind of just jumping the gun. And you know what? Like, I think a great proof of that is Cutter Gauthier. Not the contract. He signed the contract he didn't sign. He was offered 13 mil and his agent and him declined it. And that's when that offer sheet came through. So you're going to sit there and decline 13 mil after the year you put up. Brother, you weren't even a point per game. I understand you had a great year, scored 40 Genos. Congrats. You had a fantastic year, but turning down 13 mil takes some cojones. So
yeah.
And it proves that obviously these agents are telling these players they're worth more than they are, because they should not be getting this kind of money when they haven't proven anything. Like you said, the only guy who deserves that kind of money is Macklin Celebrini, because he is the only player that, although he's done nothing in terms of accolades, he has put up the amount of points that it takes to be one of the best. And he showed at the Olympics that he can hang with Nate Mack, with Sid, with Connor McDavid. Although they didn't come home with the gold, he was the guy that they looked to make things happen, on the line that the team looked to make things happen. So he's the only guy, in my opinion, that deserves that kind of money out of all of the rookie contracts that we've seen get dished out.
Yeah, sure. I don't think you're wrong. I'm actually of the belief, and if anyone thinks I'm crazy, let me know, but I'm of the belief Schaefer is going to take a friendly deal when he comes up, because New York is always trying to build, and they just never get to that next level. So the mindset's going to be take the friendly contract so we can build. But it's this big vicious circle, and it's never changed for years. But a contract like that could end up resetting the market, and the next group of guys coming in may never see the money these guys are seeing right now. So I think you're right. He was crazy not to take 13 million.
Absolutely, he was.
Yeah.
And I do think that Schaefer could take that contract, because in my opinion, the Islanders are basically the Red Wings of the Metro. Like, I look at the Islanders and I think you guys are literally right there, but you've been right there for so many years that it's either make or break for like third year in a row now. Like, get something done, figure something out. And I think you're right. That's probably something that they're going to look for. They're going to look for that ELC to expire, and they're going to look for Schaefer to take a pay cut. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to take that pay cut. And I'm sure they'll probably reward him with the C, because, kind of similar to what JT and Matthews did. I'm sure that'll probably happen as a reward for taking that pay cut. But I think there's going to be a lot of pressure. I think you're right. I don't know if it'll do what you want it to do in terms of resetting the market. I hope it does, because these contracts are getting out of hand. But I don't think there's any going back now with the cap increasing every single year the way it is. I don't know if there's any going back now.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You know what? Let's talk Toronto Maple Leafs for a second, because I enjoy talking the Leafs. What do you make of the news of Matthews this week? Been down in Arizona, kind of working on biometric markers and working on more than the injuries that put him out last year, the quad contusion, the knee MCL tear there, grade 3. What do you make of all that? Are we excited? We're getting back a good Matthews here, or is there like hey, red flags? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I think more so red flags than there are, green flags, because you look at Austin Matthews and he's training with a guy that specializes in back pain, and you're sort of wondering, that wasn't even something that was on anybody's radar. So the fact that you're still in this off season, even though we stopped effectively playing hockey he stopped playing a hockey effectively in I think April he got injured, and you're still dealing with back pain. That's a red flag to me. It's a little concerning, and it would explain a hell of a lot more than that wrist injury did, because that's what we thought happened. We thought Matthew lost his pizzazz because of a wrist injury, and that would explain the flick. That would explain where his explosiveness, on the wrist shot was lost, or I should say snapshot. But that doesn't explain why he stopped driving a play on his own. That doesn't explain why he stopped, driving to the net and making something happen with some slick mitts. That doesn't explain any of that, but a back injury would. So that's a red flag to me.
So it was kind of interesting. I was talking with Ryan Trumba about this yesterday or Monday or whenever I was talking to Ryan Trumba anyways. And he had to say he was concerned. He was a little bit alarmed, kind of the same things you had to say about it. And I can't say I feel any different here. I mean, I think there could be outlook for optimism if the Leafs look at the situation the right way, but I think we all know the Leafs, and they're looking to get their Austin Matthews back at any cost here. So, but the optimism I'm talking about is, what if they stop trying to replace Mitch Marner for Austin Matthews, and Austin Matthews becomes more of a Mitch Marner for William Nylander? Saves his body, change its game up a little bit, not so much pressure on the wrists all the time. Maybe that's kind of a great idea.
I absolutely would have agreed with you had we not drafted first overall. I 100% would have agreed with you, because I think last season, our best output, and this is going to sound really stupid because it's like, obviously they're our two best players, but I think our best output was when we had Matthews and Nylander on the same line, and it very rarely happened. Berube only did so when he felt, okay, I got to do something. I got to nut up or shut up here. Mm-hmm. But that was our best output. We looked dynamite when those two were on the ice together. But I think there's going to be a little bit too much pressure on GM92 to be the Mitch Marner to Austin Matthews.
See,
that is my concern.
I don't agree, man. I don't even think they're going to play hockey together.
Hopefully not.
I mean, for me, his home's on the second line right beside John Tavares, JT, and that's where he belongs, man.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree.
Leave him. Listen, Austin Matthews has a job. So does John Tavares. And John Tavares' job is to be the veteran and to show the young kids the way. Austin Matthews has to worry about the media and all of those other things and all the optics, and he's got to be the captain. And JT knows that. He's been the captain in Toronto. He gets it, right? So for me, it makes perfect sense, right? You stick him right beside right beside JT, and maybe with, what's his name there, Roslovic from Edmonton on the right wing, and put Matt Nyes and Nylander up on the first line with Matthews and see what they can do.
The problem is then you're kind of sidelining Easton Cowan, who has made a nice home on that wing beside Tavares and Nylander.
Does he deserve it? What has Easton Cowan done to deserve to be a second liner in the NHL?
True, but he does show promise and grit. So I don't know if I'd stunt his growth like that.
I see. I don't think it's a stunt, man. I'd put him on the third line with Sissons up the middle, put Nick Paul on the other wing, and throw Easton Cowan on that wing. You give him a couple veterans, and see if he can kind of work his way into the lineup. Because you're right, he is a top six player, but we haven't seen that.
No, you're right. We haven't yet.
And I think I've expressed it to you before, but Easton Cowan, if he doesn't get something going here, we're watching the next Nick Robertson come through Toronto.
You did say that, yes, and I don't know if I disagree, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if you look at their game, it's very similar. It's the undersized guy that likes to pick up, a point if he can every other game type of thing. I think Easton Cowan gets a little bit more involved, but they show just as much determination, in my opinion, as each other. I think they're both very determined players.
I think the end of last season, Easton Cowan showed a whole different side of Easton Cowan. I think that was phenomenal. And I think if he can continue to be that Easton Cowan, then we're going to watch progression happen real quickly. But if he slides back into that little comfort hole of trying to be, like you said, an undersized winger in the National Hockey League, it's tough, man. Go be the Darcy Tucker. Go throw your weight around. Go cause some trouble. Go pick the pucks up and then take what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you on the subject of the Leafs, and I will be making a video about this because I feel very strongly about this. But I want to know what you think, and I want to leave a question with your audience. Is William Nylander captain material? Not specifically for the Leafs, but is he captain material?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
It's a selfish game on the ice that William Nylander plays at times. And if you're going to be a leader of any team, you cannot ever be selfish. You must always put team first. And he does a lot of the time, but not 100% of the time.
Okay, I like that answer. But I want to pick it. I want to dissect it.
Let's do it.
Is what you just said the reason why Austin Matthews doesn't score 70 goals anymore?
No.
Why?
So we're gonna go pretty deep into this here for a second. There's got to be 25 reasons Austin Matthews hasn't scored that many goals again.
24 of them are Mitch Marner.
Yeah, right. And I've said it before and on the show, and I'll say it again. When Steven Stamkos and Rocket Richard and Wayne Gretzky and all the great goal scorers of all time, Alexander Ovechkin, start pumping these goals in a season, at no point in time did any GM say, hey, here's a really good idea. Let's take the playmaker away from the freaking bread maker. Like, it just didn't happen. So, awful mistake that contributes to it. We've already talked about it tonight. Austin's been hurt. So, that contributes to Austin not scoring a lot of goals. But the biggest contributor to Austin Matthews not scoring more goals, ready everybody, he is becoming one of the best two-way centermen in the National Hockey League, which means he is very frequently the last forward leaving his zone, which means he is not in the scoring position he used to be when he was the first forward out of the zone. It is a different game. It's different angles. He's not doing the same thing. And he's been hurt, probably working on his game very hard, I would imagine. He's a very good hockey player. But it'll come back. It'll come together. But as a Leafs fan, I will take Patrice Bergeron, Austin Matthews over top of Alexander, Austin Matthews any day of the week.
That sounds a lot like William Nylander is not captain material because he plays a selfish game, and a captain cannot play a selfish game. That sounds a lot like that.
So what are you saying? Austin Matthews isn't captain material? Is that what we're getting at here?
No, I'm saying Austin I think I do agree with you. I think there's 25 reasons plus. I agree. But I do think a large majority of a reason as to why Austin Matthews stopped scoring goals is because he stopped looking for goals. I think like you said, he's the last one out of the zone. He has a far greater time on ice against the top line of the opposing team compared to when he scored 69 or any other season that he put up 40 plus. I think he's a totally different hockey player, and I think he does that because he realizes exactly what you said. A captain cannot play a selfish game. I would rather be a captain of a team that can make it far in the playoffs, no pun intended, because we have not done that with him as captain yet anyway. But I'd rather be a team that does that scores 30 goals, than a captain of a team that scores 70 and can't make it out of the first round. Granted, we haven't done either anyway, so it doesn't matter. But that's where I think his head's at.
I want to add to what Adam just said there. Not only does Austin Matthews average more minutes a game against other teams' first line than any player of his caliber, other than the likes of the Alexander Barkovs and those, Nick Suzuki's and the centermen who are in these conversations every year, Patrice Bergeron. He also takes every defensive zone faceoff that the Leafs must win. Every single one of them. Sometimes it leaves him on the ice entirely way too long. But he still stays out there because guess what? He's the best at it. Yeah, he's a great captain. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
I'm going to get eaten alive for saying that.
By anybody that's not a Leafs fan. I think if you're a real Leafs fan, you will know that Austin Matthews is a fantastic captain. And that is why on my page, on my own page, I won't bring this energy over to your page because I know that's not what you're about. But on my page, I'm very much defending Morgan Rielly because I don't like the fact that people are trying to throw him under the bus. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan isn't a big fan of Morgan Rielly either. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he wanted to get rid of him. I think you also said you would like to ditch the contract if it's possible. I'm totally okay with you guys doing that.
I'm okay with Morgan Rielly. I'm not okay with the money the Leafs pay Morgan Rielly.
Fair enough.
The numbers are actually phenomenal for Morgan Rielly when you actually look at them over the last few years on where he sits per what he makes in his contract.
Right. But, and I'm not even saying that you can't have an opinion on that. If that's your opinion, that's okay. But I just don't like people in comment sections making videos like Sid Sixero does, or commenting on their posts. Boo! I just don't like when you spread that negativity. If you want to have that opinion and you want to have a constructive conversation with your friends or a podcast such as what we're doing right now, go for it. But if you're gonna go out there and spread negativity about a player of your team, you're gonna claim to be a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and crap on one of the longest tenured Leaf, you're just not a fan. I'm sorry. You're not a fan.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. I agree. Guys, I think that's a great note to leave today on. These episodes are always brought to you by Wilson Clan Custom Apparel. Check out the website for all your custom needs. We just got some orders in. We got some shirts. We got some hats. So check out the website. Everything's up for sale. If you missed this podcast live, it will be in the School Network, school.com. You can find it all there. What else do we need to talk about? Like, follow, share, do all those things so we can keep talking to you guys every week. Cheers. Thanks, everybody.